So we're writers, you and I. We need to research. I mean, obviously facts for non-fiction, but also background for fiction, everything, anything. And we have this amazing internet to use. It's not the only source, of course, but it is a tremendous one. Except this is where we are today. Google is demonstrably not as good as it was, and AI lies. It doesn't hallucinate, it lies. You're always going to have to check what you found. Well, actually, you always have, haven't you? It's the old journalism requirement of 2 independent sources on any fact. I mean, at least 2. But here are a few things that you can do to make online research better, more reliable for you. Hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is 58 Keys, which as ever, as always, is for writers. Writers like you and me who use and who write on Macs and iPhones and iPads. And today, everything I want to talk to you about, everything I want to be sure you know about, applies to all of these devices and others, really. But I'm going to be concentrating on using the Mac. As it happens, it's where I'm doing the heavy lifting research for my current couple of book projects. And Google is slightly different depending on what device you use. Well, actually, let's start with that. Let's make this the first of the tips about this. Google is actually slightly different in every way it can be, wherever you use it, however you use it. If you and I do exactly the same search on Google, we will get different results. Maybe because of where we are, right? I mean, I might get localized results in the UK because I'm in the UK, but also the results are, well, a little bit bent, depending on sponsorship and presumably whatever personal data Google has managed to glean about us and our searching habits. Yeah, I mean, that sounds so sinister. It's not all bad. I mean, okay, UK results are probably what I want first, as that is where I am. And if Google has somehow clocked onto the fact that I search for Microsoft more often than I look up double glazing supplies, then it tending to show me the right Windows results, that's got to be good, isn't it? But just overall, we want to be in charge. We just want the results, please. And there are a couple of things you can do about this, starting with the astoundingly bad Google AI summary results. Today, with most searches on Google, the top result you get is a Google AI summary of all of its findings. Now, you can object to that because it's yet another way that Google keeps you on its site instead of having you go through to some other website, some other source that will then make enough cash to survive because you've read the adverts on the site and all of that. But for our purposes for our purposes as writers doing research, the immediate reason to object to Google AI summaries is that it is shocking how wrong they are. There's actually an argument, right, that Google started this whole AI lark back in the day, and it is unbelievable how unfit for purpose Google AI summaries are. One random example, I had some Mac problem rather, and Google AI summary told me precisely which settings to go to, what to change to what, and it was all very nice, all very quick, except there was no such setting, and it did that many times. AI has benefits for us, but this research is not necessarily one of them. So when you do any Google search, remember to add a space, a minus sign, and then the letters AI. It's an operator, a switch that tells Google not to give us this bollocks, basically. You can write this operator at any point in the search phrase you're typing out. It doesn't have to go at the end like I just said. So you could get into the habit of automatically going to Google and typing minus AI space then on. But it is kind of a habit to learn, and I do forget. So if I may, here's a bit of a niche solution. I happen to use Alfred 5, what's called a launcher app, a Spotlight replacement, and I use it for 500,000 reasons. It's great. But one thing that you can do with it is a fast search. If you get Alfred 5, then out of the box, you press Command Space, and without you doing anything at all, set it up, you can type the letter G, followed by a space, and then whatever you want to look for, and then Alfred will chuck all of that off to Google. It saves you one little step of going to google.com. Not much of a saving, don't tend to remember to use it, but Alfred 5 has a lot of these quick searches on websites, and you can make your own. And I do now use this one. I made one up. If I bring up Alfred 5 and I type GA space in the search, it sends that search to Google with this -AI operator in there for me automatically every time. Let me show you very quickly how to do it. I mean, very quickly, because if you have Alfred already, you may well already know, in which case you could have told me. And if you don't have Alfred, well, you might not care, really. Other launchers can do this too, I'm certain. Surely Raycast, for example. Raycast is great, does everything. But for me, open Alfred Preferences, choose Web Search, click Add Custom Search. Now, I didn't know how to do this, so I followed the note there in Alfred. I went off to Google. I did some random test search, and then I copied the link. Notice Safari tries to hide the link to make it easier, prettier, I suppose. But right-clicking gave it to me. I then pasted that into Alfred. I took a bit of a gamble and deleted what looked to me, I was guessing, but it looked to me like unnecessary extra tracking information. Delete, until I had this short Google address, including that test search term. Replace my test search with the word query in curly brackets. Give this search a name. Give it a keyword. The trigger, I decided GA. I don't know why GA, but, and then save. And now, command space, GA, search term, away off it goes. And I do not see that Google AI summary ever again, in theory. Now, this has been true for me so far, okay, but I have heard that sometimes Google will just ignore that -AI switch. I mean, whatever way you do it, type it, Alfred, whatever, and it'll just show you the AI summary regardless, because of course it will. One more thing that can help with this specific issue with Google, and it's a small thing, but it's important enough that I would like please to call this tip number 2. After you have done a search, a regular search, at least on the Mac, any way you do it in Google, this is the kind of screen you get. You've seen this. You get this range of options at the top. It does vary depending on your devices. But look for Tools, choose All Results, and then click on Verbatim. It at least cuts down on Google's steering of results, including when it presumes, when it presumes you've made a typing mistake and all of the, here's a search for this. But if you really meant... Okay. I appear to be annoyed at Google. I mean, just because of its incredibly bad AI summaries, it's routing us to advertisers more than actual useful results, at least more than it ever did. And also because Google Maps is such a badly designed app. Okay, that is a separate issue. I realise that, but, still. There are nonetheless things Google can do well, can be made to do well, made to do better. And they all use more of these operators, like the -AI thing. Let's call this all tip number 3. But actually, maybe tip number 3 is really just that there are these extra tools. Once you know that they exist, I suppose you can Google them really and see just how many there are. 40, 60, somewhere around that. Try this one. There is Cite, colon. Do any search you like, and then type a space followed by the word site, a colon, and then the basic address for website. So site, colon, nytimes.com. No spaces, just site, colon, nytimes.com. Hit return. That search will only look at the New York Times. Ish. Well, effectively it will, right? You may still get sponsored answers. The pages of search results too that you see, they will veer off into other things, but it will start with the site you specify. And actually, it's usually a better search than those sites provide. Eventually, though, whatever the site is, you exhaust it when you're researching something. So you can try this other operator, related. For no good reason, let's stick with the Times. You could Google the phrase related, colon, nytimes.com, hit return, and at least in theory, get a list of websites that are in some way similar to New York Times or whichever one, In the past, I've had a lot of success with that, but it's really variable depending on what site you're specifying. But actually, okay, speaking of specifying, if the thing you are searching for is in the title of a website, well, then that's the website you want to read first, isn't it? So do a Google search for that thing by first typing in title, colon. So in title, not end title, and a colon, no spaces, immediately followed by what you're looking for. There cannot be a space between that colon and the thing you're searching for, but there can be afterwards. So I could search for in title colon chocolate space biscuits and get chocolate biscuit search. It did used to be that if you were searching for a phrase like that, you'd have to write all in title instead of just in title. But that doesn't appear to be the case anymore. It doesn't appear to be. Maybe it depends on what you're searching for. So maybe remember all in title and try that sometimes too. Similarly, you can figure that a PDF about a topic might be more useful than a forum posting about it. So this time searching for the word chocolate, followed by a space and the phrase file type colon PDF. But one more because it's so useful and because there are 3 parts to it or 3 bits, not one. It's and or not. Boolean operators. I could search for Windows and double glazing, not Microsoft. I could search for chocolate or biscuits. These ones are so useful that Google has long given us much shorter versions. If you type a plus directly in front of a search term, no space after it, then that term must be in the results. It's an and. It's got to be in there. If you put a minus in front of it, the results must not include that term. It's a not. I could go on, but I feel like you're looking at me. I said this was about research today, didn't I? In the age of AI and all of this stuff, you may well know it's been in Google since the start. I offer that it's more necessary today. I think it's now become as much about cutting out this kind of sponsored nonsense as it is about cutting through huge volumes of results. But there is AI, and it is useful for research, and sometimes more useful than Google. Yeah, no, that all said, I seem to be annoyed by AI as well. Am I in a bad mood? I mean, just because it lies, it takes writers' work, it takes writers' jobs, that kind of thing. Yeah. But AI does have its uses, and I do use it in research. In fact, there are times now when I use it a lot. But it's like, when Wikipedia, at least when it started, and probably still now, if you're careful, you can use it for the beginning of research or for part of research, never the end, never the conclusion. You can do it by doing this. Of course, tip number 4, please. Quote, find me all the articles on appleinsider.com about chocolate. You can specify a site, specify a search, let it go. I'm using Claude here, but this works with every AI in as far as it works. What you get, of course, is a list of articles with links. Now, maddeningly, as I've tried different AI things, sometimes you don't get the links at all, and you have to beg for them. Why? But you get this list, and without fail, without question, you have to go through every single one to see if these links even exist. All AI lies. Plus, I don't know how this can be. I've routinely had the link go through to a site, which is the correct site, but it has deleted or it has moved the page. Why AI has cached an old link is beyond me. Didn't check it. I don't know. Despite that essential requirement to check, I still do find that AI searches done that way are more accurate than Google. They return more results that are correct. But then let's have tip number 5. Lost count there for a second, didn't I? Number 5. When any AI has returned any answer about anything, just type this. Prove it. Staggeringly often, the AI will come back and say, oh, sorry, you're absolutely right. I was totally wrong. I made certain assumptions. I read too fast. It read too fast. Whatever nonsense this is, it will come out. The real answer is this. And maybe it is the real answer, maybe it isn't. But whenever anything like this happens, back to the annoyance here, all AI agents say, well, thank you for putting right, we will learn from this. Bollocks. They literally will not learn anything. Despite all the training that AI gets on our work, when we want it to learn that giving us the wrong answer is less than helpful, it will not learn from it. Because once that chat you're in is done, the fact that it was wrong is simply thrown away. You can try that out, by the way, if you're bored. Come back later to the same AI and ask the same thing, and you'll get a different result. Well, the thing is, actually, AI will routinely give you different answers to the same things. I'm getting so wound up about AI now, and yet that search for articles, that is excellent. Here's a tip 6 to make up for it, to calm you down, really. As well as whatever you're searching for, when you're using AI, include a phrase like this in your prompt. But first, ask me some clarifying questions. The AI, you're not shocked, the AI agent will ask you some questions. It'll help narrow down the search. It's actually like the and or not with Google, but kind of easier to remember. Last one, which I think must be number 7 in a list of ways of working with Google or AI for research better. Don't use them. Instead of Google, you could try Bing. Although I can't seem to get beyond the time when I was installing Windows for somebody for some reason, and the installer expressly asked whether I wanted to set it up to use Google or Bing as this person's search engine. I said Google, it just did Bing anyway. It's Microsoft logic. Give people a choice, just then ignore whatever they choose. But it's true. Bing it's bigger than I thought, and it's not as big as Google, not as popular as Google, but it's big. And for the sake of putting it, we're just going to bing.com. Yeah, fine. You could, though, also use DuckDuckGo, which is more limited than Google, but less driven by sponsors. Or there's one called Start Page, which actually uses Google, but blocks all of Google's usual tracking. I've only actually used this once. In fact, I did it just now before we started talking. In-depth research here, it seems fine. It also seemed really fast, actually. Similarly, if there's a benefit to using different search engines than Google and using several of them, there's the same benefit to using different AI tools. All AI services, right, they do offer various deep research options that are exclusive to subscribers, but for a lot of what we need, the free versions are fine, so there's no reason not to. Chuck the same query into Claude, into ChatGPT, or even into Perplexity if you must. Perplexity seemed to be so good when it also claimed to be so good in the sense of, respecting paywalls and user data. What can you do? Yeah, well, actually, you could use your local library and its access to other paid search engines, such as academic ones. But maybe that's something we can talk about another time, possibly when I've done a bit more of it myself. I am, right this minute, I am deep into research on 2 books at the moment, and everything I've just said to you, everything I've just shown, it's proving to be so deeply useful in ferreting out details. By the way, as is keeping notes, totally separate thing. Keep notes. It can be hard to find what you want, even with these options and these tools and these operators and this AI and all that stuff. But finding the same thing again is worse. So much harder. Very frustrating. But look, finding out things, I don't care whether it's a tiny, tiny fact for nonfiction or it's an event that sparks a story. Research is brilliant, isn't it? As long as we stop researching at some point and start writing. I might be projecting there. But anyway, for now, thank you very much for watching this. Take care of yourself. Write more, research more, but write more. And I'll see you soon.